Oh my goodness. Okay, so that I just hit the button to stop recording. I'm sorry. So that little intro about the MLM and simplicity will be just ahead of this video. So I wanted to just kind of explain some simplistic things in an easy to understand MLM pyramid scheme. And the the basic point I was going to make in that is that I have all of these cute sets left over because in the beginning they had really cute Color Street nails, really really cute in the beginning, and then he turned over the design, um, the whole head of design to his daughter, and she is younger, and so she's doing all these stupid mixed manis and stuff, and they're just stupid. They look like you get them out of a gumball machine, and so it's like when I quit, I really didn't miss out on anything, but the sets that started out in the beginning were really good and beautiful, and I have so many pretty Valentine's Day sets that it's hard for me to figure out which ones to use. And for me, each package, so after my discount, I would get the nails for what, 725 after my commission, 775, 725, whatever. um and so that goes for 3 manicures for me because my fingernails are so short, and each manicure lasts me 2 to 3 weeks. So that was my Color Straight ML little intro and how that came to be, and just for simple facts of how an MLM uh, downline, how you buy, makes sense. And I hit that, so that's going to be confusing in this because then you're going to be like, well, wait, where, how, huh? Sorry about that. I really am. I got to stop flailing around. Um, you all know I'm half Italian, so when I talk, I flail my hands around. It's real weird. I look like I'm about to take flight. So, anywho, how are you all? As I said in the other little thing, happy Valentine's Day. Now, what I want to do here is I want to give you the story. You ready for it? You ready for it? You ready for it? Of the Real Bored Housewife of Saratoga Trail by Tabitha Jane. Get it? Now, I did an earlier series on the Queen of the Dirty South. And those of you that have been with me since the beginning, you know kind of how I talk and what I'm talking about, and you guys get me. Well, when people are coming upon that, they're not getting me. They don't understand it. And, people are writing these whole freaking manifestos about what a terrible creator I am and everything. And it's like, it's not that deep. I am trying to give a scenario and how things could have happened because there is black, white, and there is gray. There is the truth, lies, and there is in the middle. And somewhere in the middle of what is being said is the truth. And so I'm not trying to get sued. If anybody else would like to get sued, if you're smart enough to have a username on YouTube where you can go and write a freaking manifesto to me, you're smart enough to be able to push record. And that's all you have to do. And then you push the little plus thing and you can upload, and then you can have a channel of your own too. And then if you really want people to know how you feel, they can. And so however you behave on other channels and stuff, they might be like, wow, I want to see what you have to say. You're a real soothsayer. Or they'll see that you write some jackass manifesto on Tabitha Jane stuff, and they're not going to listen to you. But you know what? I've said I don't want to get sued. If you want to get sued, go and make a very factual rendition of what you think happened, and go ahead and get yourself sued. Go ahead. I don't want to be sued. So therefore, remember, my creations, unless they are coming straight from a document that you see that I am showing you in my virtual camera here, or that I push a document on my community page, this is for entertainment purposes only. What I am saying is 80% truth, 20% creative. Or it could be the opposite, for all you know. It could be just a story to put you to sleep, just like anything else. Or it could be a cautionary tale so that you don't raise a son who does something like this, meets the wrong woman, or it could be that I'm telling you literally nothing that's true. So when you listen to that, you know what is true by your own research. You guys are all students of life and of the University of Tabitha Jane, and you guys are finding out the truth. And as you bring your own life experience to these things, you see things and you understand, and you can either relate or you can't relate. And that is fine. That is for you to do with what you want. In the recent ass whoopings I've gotten for the Queen of the Dirty South, you know, I know that her parents said somewhere that they named her Shannon because they like Shauna, like Shannon or something, the Shauna or something like that. There was something that they had said in an interview, and so I had said that, and it was like, "How do you know? You don't know anything. That's not true." Blah 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 blah. Well, no, I know they said it. I know they said it, but anyway, if they didn't, so freaking what? It's not that deep. And then the biggest thing that I get jumped on is that her father was Polish, not Italian. Well, I was creating this story of the strong father who just kind of, he takes care of his stuff. He is working with his baby girl. Shit starts to go down. They've been running a couple of things together, covering for one another. And something doesn't go right, and one of them needs to take the fall. And you know what? Daddy's going to take care of it. If I said that a Polish father was doing that, would you guys like have the visual of the, because her dad is Polish? Would you have this vision of this Polish family doing that? No. You think of like this Italian family that does that, and and her mom is Italian, and they have that black hair, and Shanann has that black hair. She liked to be called Veronica and dyed her hair black. I was putting this creative twist on it, the non-fictional thing of daddy taking care of things. I didn't want to do it as Polish because then it leads to so much other things. And you know what? It might make a whole lot more sense given all of the. I can't go there because you guys know what I'm saying, but I don't want to be called a racist. But how many Pollocks does it take to change a light bulb? All those jokes that we heard when we were growing up, blah, blah, blah. They're terribly racist, and I don't want to do that. But honestly, if there was something like that going on here, wouldn't it kind of make sense of all of this nonsense? But that's the thing, is that I was putting up this strong paternal figure, which she had. Her dad was the kind of dad that took care of things. When she had a problem, with Cindy Watts and whatever, and she threw her little shit fit and everything else that she had going on with her third pregnancy and everything else, and she was saying there was razor blades all over, she didn't call 911 saying there's razor blades all over. She called Daddy. Said, "Dad, pick me and the girls up." Daddy came, and Daddy was like, "Where are these razor blades?" She's like, "Oh, I didn't mean razor blade. Misunderstanding, yeah, because it's like if Daddy would have heard there was razor blades, and she would have said, "Oh, Daddy, there's razor blades," that Daddy would have went in there, had the police called after he took care of all of the razor blades. You know what I mean? He was that kind of father. And to me, the story didn't flow saying the strong Polish father. It did with Italian. And that's all it is. I want there to be room for me to have some creativity. And, because none of us know what happened. Something happened. Something happened. And as not speaking of, straight up, I can't speak. Seeking the Truth with Dave. He just put up the short too that shows Cindy and Ronnie are to the point where they've accepted that there is guilt. They've accepted that something happened and that he may need to be in prison for what he did or didn't do, but they are resigned to the fact that something happened, and they are resigned to the fact that he will be in prison for the rest of his life. They have came to that. I think that they had to start. It's a process of grief when somebody goes to prison for life. They're going through all of the grief of losing that huge part of everything, and loss is loss, whether it's a breakup of a relationship, whether it's somebody going away and you're never going to be able to touch them again. They're behind bars, never going to be able to see them enjoy freedom again. Or that it is the loss of life, as is the case of their grandchildren that Christopher Watts had for them, Bella and Cece, possibly Nico. But anyway, um, they are to the point where they had to come to acceptance. And there are the stages of grief, and they don't come in any order. And they may come back out of this acceptance and go back to the anger phase and whatnot. There's no set rules with grief. It is a monster and it comes back and forth. But Dave put that up, and I believe that Dave is a very, very credible source when it comes to the Watts. I think that he worked hard on earning the right to give them a platform to speak. He put in the time, he put in the money. He has great creative talent, and he speaks well, and he speaks well for them. And God bless him for that. And I'm very sorry to have heard about the recent loss of his mother. Please be sure to offer sympathy towards Dave if you have not for the loss of his mother. I'm very sorry to have heard about that. I think Dave's a kind man. I really I feel bad for thinking the opposite of him, because I was led astray by, like I say, I just, that bitch that jumped my ass. Oh, I was on her panel, and it acts like I don't even exist. Well, you know what? This one time when I was on her panel, and I said, well, when Shanann had the coffin birth, she jumped me so hard and was like, coffin birth? Now, you don't know the case. Oh my God, coffin birth? She did not have a coffin. Well, you know what? There are actual pathologists who refer to Shanann Watts having a coffin birth. You can look it up. And the only way that you can sit there and say that it didn't happen based on the discovery and whatnot is if you are saying that you do not believe in the judicial system, which is problematic if you are in fact an attorney. But I think that only pertains as if you're registered in the bar. You're like an attorney that can do things other than shuffle papers, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. So anyway, I don't like the way that I was treated on her panel, and I learned from her to not think that Dave was a credible person and to believe this and that and everything else, and it just disgusts me. But I will say that I have become a better person for what she put me through, because she's like that professor, that old crotchety professor that makes you do better so that you can expose their negligence, and that it makes you go and work 5 times as hard to make sure that you know what you're talking about, because when you were humiliated by them, it was embarrassing to you. That's what she is to me, and I have become a better person because of her shaming, but it's really cruel what she does to people, and I've publicly said this before. I'm very sorry for what I previously thought about Dave. I have really grown to respect his platform that he has earned very much. That being said, I have so many scattered thoughts right now on this. Thoughts have just been coming to me in just mass what do you call it? Mass exodus. All these thoughts are leaving my brain. Mass exodus. It's just, I wake up and I'm like, whoa, this makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, and I can't really put it in a story because it is so broken up in my mind, because my mind zigzags so much on this story. Now, I will say that things are looking better on Reddit. There's a page called Watts Free for All. I encourage you all to look there. I am seeing more and more reassuring posts from people that seem like they're looking further and they're open to looking and not I'm kicked out of every other group of Watts on Reddit, but not kicked out of that one. And so I do watch it. Because I'm kicked out of so many, I'm not really commenting because I don't want to get kicked out of that one too. I want to save I want to save one that I can see. But check it out. It's reassuring to see that there is some stuff going on that I like. And now I put up, let's see, was it Saturday? Hot Ham Radio did a screen grab and did her own little vignette of the infamous hashtag booty water park incident, as it is. And what had happened was the girls were at the water park, and I'm not sure if this was North Carolina, if it was in that last little bit. Please tell me in the comments where that water park was and what timing that was, because I think it was in North Carolina. But Bella goes up to, so there's water coming up out of the ground. And Bella goes up and bends over and proceeds to do a reverse dolphin spout. Like, so Hot Ham shared it, and I put it on my community post, and I want to keep putting it on my community post because I want to know what people think about this, because this is straight up weird. So Bella bends over. It's like she's not like, ooh, a little tingle. She's like bending over, and then she like grabs onto her butt cheeks and spreads them open, and she's like, booty, booty. It's like, what are you doing? And yeah, she was doing that. So, she's just loving it. And I don't know exactly where the water went then from that point, because the water went up and it didn't go like behind her or anywhere else. So I don't know if she enemed her. I don't know what happened. So anyway, Cece sees what Bella's doing, and she's like, right on. So then Cece does it, and she does the spread eagle, spreads herself apart, and goes and does it too. And you can see these other parents like trying not to look directly, but they're just trying to like nicely guide their children away from this. And you see another little girl like look over, like, WTF? And it's weird. It is so freaking weird. And so then you hear Shania moan, Chris, get him. And Chris wakes up or whatever from the fugue he was in, probably putting more stuff in the secret calculator of NK. And he's like, oh. And she's like, go get them. And by this time, the girls were like, fuck them parents. They didn't want anything to do with the parents. And so Chris goes out and tries to grab Bella. And Bella ain't having it. Okay? Bella ain't having it. She pulls away from Chris. Like bad. Like she turned into like a little shit right there. And Chris couldn't grab her. And then he's like trying to grab harder. He grabs, CC, and he's trying to pull him away. And Bella like bucks up and grabs and flicks him on. And she's like, water on you. Says something like that to Shania. And it is some bad behavior, okay? I don't know what I would have done had any of my children ever done anything like this, okay? I've never seen another child do this, and like I say, as I lived on the West Coast, the new thing is the water features, because, it's much less liability and upkeep than a community pool, so the solution is these splash pads. Side note, my kids would get up at the freaking break at dawn because it was so bright in Vegas at 5 in the morning that they'd want to go, but they wouldn't turn on the water features till freaking 9 a.m. So here, Mama Tabitha Jane has to get her wrench and drive the kids over. And I figured out how to torque the water feature and turn them on for my kids alone. So my kids had the water feature to themselves. all in the morning, and I let them, run and play and have all the fun they wanted for like 2 hours. And then I used my wrench, turned it off, took them home. They took a wonderful nap because they were exhausted, had their son, they were happy. And they were like, wow. They remember me doing that because I'm kind of a badass. But anyway, um, what do you think of it? What do you think of the video? I mean, I keep putting on my community post. It keeps getting taken down. I don't know if somebody just grosses out and is like just taking it down for. They're just like, I can't. But on the freaking MLM, somebody said that I had put it up. So I'm like, I'm encouraged. People are talking, right? So then you have some dipshit trying to defend this. And she's trying to defend everything because in the thread they were saying, Bella and Cece were water deprived. What the heck was that water crap, right? Um, well, we know what it was. It was because she was putting them to bed from 6:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. and it's not dark by then. And hold on, I could explain a couple things in that. But 12 hours for girls who are respectively almost 3 and 4, 12 hours for anybody. I mean, I have to get up 52 times a night to pee. I mean, and they locked the bathroom between them, so they were not allowed to use the bathroom from that time. So, of course, what would happen if you put your child in a bed, even though they put, pull them up on a CC, you're going to have a freaking water bed, a water crib. I mean, they're going to pee from head to toe. Well, I'm sure that, Shanann did not want all the pissy beds and all the pissy bedding to deal with every day. So she started on this bullshit that the doctor has them on fluid restrictions and it's fluid restrictions and all that. No, it is because she only wanted them to drink at certain times of the day so then they weren't drinking very much before bed. So then they wouldn't piss, okay? But then you see, Cece was like, how Cece was. She's like, oh, fuck this shit, Cece would go and drink out of the toilet, okay? And, we saw that. SW thought that was hilarious and would post that. She was drinking out of the toilet. She was eating her own turds. She thought that was funny. What a way to sell my MLM product. Show that, right? So, anywho. Someone said there about that locked bathroom. And that person who was like defending it, and she's like, so what if there was a locked bathroom? Blah, 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 blah. Somebody else said, well, the toilet was even drained. And they're like, no, the toilet goes down when you flush it. And then she says that she's like, oh yeah, I love to drink from faucets when I was a kid. I did it all the time. And it's different from the faucet. Okay, don't we all drink from the frickin' faucet? That's how you pour out your water. I get it. But when you're a 2-year-old and, you keep, cutting your mouth and everything because you're climbing up on a counter to go and get the water, that's the problem. Okay? Some of these people cannot connect the dots. They don't get it. It's not like we're saying, oh, yes, you must only give your children bottled water from Evian of the purest mountain water. Don't give them sink water. It's not that. It's that when you have your kid climbing the shelves, climbing the everything to go and get water and figure out how to get water from themselves when they are not even 3 years old, that's problematic. And the mom is saying, oh, yeah, well, they're on fluid restriction from the doctor. No. And then because she was giving them Benadryl and Cece was on Zyrtec and Singular and God knows what else, they would have been dry. You know how dried out you get when you take an antihistamine? So poor Cece was probably just freaking thirsty. That's why they were overjoyed when they got water bottles for Christmas. Right? So, anywho. Blanket gate. Doll gate. It is my opinion that because she wanted the girls to sleep during daylight hours, when she was on vacation, it was, 6:30 in the night to 6:30 in the AM. Sometimes, as we saw, it would be 7 p.m. to 6:30, whatever. But either way, in Colorado, it was still bright. In North Carolina, it was still light. The naps in the middle of playtime that she, pulled the day before Nutgate, we have Napgate, she wanted the girls to sleep, and it was light. She did not have the darkening shades. She did not have the noise machines and everything like that when she was out in North Carolina for 6 weeks. It is my opinion then that she, especially with Cece, would put a blanket over her head, over Bella's head, over Cece's head. Tell them that's the way they need to keep their blankets. That's the way they need to sleep. And God knows they weren't going to do anything about it. They weren't going to take that blanket off if she said it, because with the pinching, the haircuts, every other weird ass thing, what was she doing behind closed doors? We heard that video where she hit Cece. There is no question about how hard she hit Cece. And that's because Cece had once again climbed up on the counter or had shoved herself in the toilet and could not get herself back out. But you heard what 99% of the listeners heard. You heard her get pulled out, and you heard something horrible happen, and you heard Cece cry. That is a cry that a baby only cries once they have been hit. Once you've heard it, you can never unhear it. That was on Neek's Peaks. That was a video that was pulled from Shanann's own ridiculous nonstop streaming. So, I believe she was in Sid's groups because she didn't understand how loose blankets were causing SIDS. I don't think that she wanted her children to die of SIDS, but I think that she wanted to know what not to do. That she was going to use blankets to cover their head, but she didn't want to go too far. So she's probably trying to figure out what kind of blanket can I put over a kid's head. Okay, trying to figure out which one she couldn't. That's how I see the SIDS groups fitting into that. I stand on my opinion that this is Dollgate because she had been with them exclusively as, she was in North Carolina for 6 weeks before the unthinkable. I am standing with what the discovery says about how the calls were made because I have not seen anything written differently. Okay? So as the discovery shows, it can give a coding to each of the phones, and the phone that was used to put pictures of naked NK into the secret calculator was the same phone that was then used a short time later to take the picture of what Bella did to the doll, putting the baby to sleep. Okay. It then says that Christopher Watts sent that picture to Shanann, who was in Arizona. Shanann then responded later and said, "Oh, that girl's so funny," something to that effect. It then said this was sent to Sarah Nudd, referring to the letter below. I assume then is that Shanann thought that was so funny about the doll, she put it on her Facebook. And that is when Papa Ronnie saw it because Christopher Watts did not have a Facebook at that time. I am standing firm in that because that is the discovery that I read. I read the discovery. I showed everybody where it's at, where it was. If I, as a creator, have read that to you and shown that to you, I need to stand behind it until and if I see information that shows that that did not, in fact, happen by that ISP, etc., etc. Okay? If there is an addendum to come up later, wonderful, and I will say, okay, please disregard in this video where this was because of this, and I now have changed my stance. As it is, where Dollgate is, with that being said, it is my opinion And that is how it makes sense. Nobody in their right mind would put a blanket over a kid's head. Okay? Nobody in their right mind takes kids out in the middle of having fun and puts them down for a nap. Nobody in their right mind thinks that a kid is going to sleep from, you know, when they put them down and it's still light outside, because the kids weren't falling asleep like that. And at home, she had all of these systems built in to make it happen. And if it didn't happen, the locks were locked from the outside anyway. So if they chose not to sleep, that was their problem. It wasn't hers. It was then her time. And there was nothing that was going to change that. Okay? Is that bashing? Is that whatever? You know what? These are what she was doing. These are factual. This is proven by what she was recording and bragging about. These are shown on Neek's Peaks easily. These are shown on What's the Obsession. These are shown. So for all of the people who want to act like it wasn't happening and everything, continue to keep your head in the sand. It's probably a lot easier to deal with things. Okay? That way. Keep your head in the sand. It must be so easy and nice. Probably cool too. I don't know. But that is how that makes sense to me. That's how these things are falling into place. Okay? That so badly wanted to say that that was Christopher Watts doing that and that he was practicing smothering. It does not fit. If we go to #booty and we see that Bella did that with her bunghole, and then Cece followed, you see that Bella and Cece were very good at mimicking behavior. You saw in the videos, was it Cece that pulled Bella down by her ear, or Bella pulled Cece down by her ear? I can't remember right now. In the video that Neeks just did. But where did she learn that? Who the hell pulls down a child by their earlobe? That's horrible and disgusting, and I hate that they went through that, but they did, and they were. When I went through and I did my Baby Wise, if you guys have not heard that, please go back to my videos where I did debunk, where she was blaming all of this stuff on Baby Wise. Baby Wise did not say this. I did get the older version and the 25th edition, so I got the editions that she would have most likely been reading, and she did refer to a book as opposed to a website when she was saying that she got the book and she was doing this Baby Wise stuff. So we can say that she had this book, that this book was given to her, and what she did with anything, just like any MLM, she took what it said and then added her own neurotic nonsense onto it. So she confabulated things. You'd take one nugget of truth and then she'd put all of this stuff around it, but people weren't checking her. They were saying, wow, she's such a good mom. She's doing all of these things by this and that. And they were feeling inferior, and she loved that. She wanted other people to feel inferior. She got off on that. Okay? Make no mistake. She got off on that. So Baby Wise did not tell her to do these things. Baby Wise, in fact, says, do not make artificial noises or keep the doors closed or whatnot. Do, in fact, make sure that baby hears normal things going on, like siblings coming home from school, the bus stopping outside, parents driving to work, whatever, to make sure that they hear those, so then that's an accepted noise and they will ultimately sleep through it. By her making Christopher park across the street, her friends park across the street, whatever, because God forbid they wake up the kids, that was because she was doing the opposite of what was instructed on Baby Wise, and that is just one example. Okay, nothing that she said was based in truth. So, the one who was defending the water and the sink and everything goes on to say about Booty that, oh, she's a child RN, and so kids that age even embate, and they're very aware of their bodies, and that's all totally normal. and something was happening to her mom's kid's friend or whatever, and she called her because she is a child nurse and asked, and she said, oh no, this is all completely normal. So she is saying what Bella and Cece were doing was completely normal. I have never seen it. I am 50 years old. I've been a mom for 34 years. As I've said, I've been to many a water park. I went to pools and stuff all the time as a kid. I've never seen that. And like I've said too, that can be very dangerous. If your kid's doing that, you need to tell them to knock that shit off, because they're going to do that in some hot tub or something. And then they're going to go over into a pool and they're going to disembowel themselves. It's like internal disemboweling. There are kids who have died by that. They go and they sit on the drain because they're like in that little. So anyway, the way that I believe that was happening, because unfortunately, her obsession with the Mediterranean fever and lubing up the thermometer and making Christopher Watts go to the intimate parts of his daughters and doing that. Well, she stood behind him at an angle to film him and had Bella outside of a gate, which is just the weirdest setup scenario that I could ever see until I looked at it. And it is my theory that she was filming him like that, so she was blackmailing him into saying that she would accuse him of SA if he did this, if he did that. She had him by, what do you even call it that I can say on this? By the shorties, okay? By the shorties. Okay? Think about it. Think about that angle. Why was she standing behind him filming like that? And he is down there on the ground. And you saw the way that Cece was situated. And he is inserting something into her rectum with a lot of lube. What woman would allow a man to do that? If there's a man around and there's a woman around and they are identified as mother and father, which would be the parent that would be most appropriate to be teaching their child about their private areas and autonomy and who can touch those areas and what for? It's not the parent of the opposite sex. That's not teaching a little girl her body is hers. Her body is sacred. It is her body. It is her right to say yes and no as to who touches it. It is okay for a parent to help them bathe or guide them to where they need to bathe because they are old enough to bathe that area by themselves, as long as mom and dad reminds them sometimes, right? If you see that, they're getting a little rash or whatever, be like, hey, what's going on there? So, the fact that then she's moaning for Chris to go and get him says that she knows it's not appropriate. So what does her dumb ass do? She goes and posts it on Facebook for all of her MLMEs to see and everybody to see, and hashtags it booty. Okay? Now, as a mother, as a parent, as a responsible adult, I will tell you that anytime I take or have taken a vacation, I don't put my vacation pictures up until I am well home and secured, especially if I have my children. When they were at events for their sports, their band, they're out of town or whatever, I'm not putting it, oh yeah, they're there or we're here. No. You don't know what kind of weirdo is watching. And so if you have everything set to public because you want to sell, because you're selling everything, you're selling everything, literally, you're selling everything. What kind of a person do you think could look at that video if it is public? Do you want that kind of person to see that kind of stuff? Do you want those kind of people knowing where your kids are? Do you want somebody using those pictures of your child for something nefarious? Do you want them seeing videos of your child doing that and knowing that they're in this area and they get an obsession and they start following you? Because it was no secret as to where those kids were on any given day. I don't know anybody who is that naive. Okay? When I worked at the Pottery Barn, we offered embroidery services for backpacks. And, I offered it to this person. Oh, yeah, I get jumped because, oh, no, well, I just saw in an article and it was on Good Morning America. You do not do that. You do not put those kinds of things on there because that's how then the pedophiles are going to find your kid. I'm like, ma'am, a simple no would have been just fine. But, but I mean, it's like there's a lot of other things you need to worry about other than that. I mean, no. I mean, if they're that close to your kid that they're going to go and read the initials, you've already got a security breach. But anyway, it wasn't enough that she did it. This video was then on her father's page because he was the first and loudest to just talk about how funny that was and how cute. And then you had a few others going cute. And then you had this one chick with a brain who comes off and she's like, oh, hell no. That is disgusting. That is inappropriate. I cannot believe that you are encouraging this behavior. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right. Somebody was able to stand up, and say this isn't right. If it was acceptable behavior, then why did she tell Chris to go and make it stop? If she makes him stop, then why go and put it on the video, on social media as something to laugh at? A serious discussion with my children if I saw them doing that and ask them if anybody else has shown them to do that or whatnot, or what makes them do that. And like I say, the basic straightforward answer is that they were unfortunately learning that there's feelings down there because of what else was going on down there, because of the ridiculous and inappropriate temperature taking every single night rectally. They used to do that, way back when, but not every night. No. That's how it was believed that, you needed to find the core. And there are still rare circumstances where you need to find the person's core body temp. And, that's the way to do it. We've came a long way. And as I talked about, other ways to do the thermometer and whatnot, and the Benadryl, I've talked about this extensively. We have other ways of doing that now. But, if it comes down to, somebody's been in the wilderness and they've got hypothermia, they probably still do rectal temps to see. But there are very rare and distinct circumstances in which that would be appropriate, and those were not qualifying as such. So, that's my thoughts on that. I'm not able to blow dry my hair very nicely. It looks like crap right now because it's been forever since I've had a haircut and had it colored, because I was just like, you know what, wait till after my surgery. Then I had COVID, blah, 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 blah. And I was already overdue for foil and cut then. So then my idiot self saw a TikTok last week where it was like, oh, put some layers in your hair with this technique, you twist it and then you cut at it. And it's like, so I made this layer into my hair that very choppy. very choppy. So I can't really get a good handle on a brush and blow dry just because, I'm still recovering from surgery, what I'm in physical therapy. My shoulder does a lot. I'm so grateful for what it does. It's so in so much less pain than it was before the surgery. But anyway, my hair looks like shit right now. So, um, I saw this guy on YouTube last night. What's his name? Mondo, Brad Mondo, something like that. Something. He was just hilarious. And I think it's Brad Mondo. Brad Mondo? I don't know, but it was hilarious. But he was bringing up the fact that hot rollers are a real forgotten gem. That hair done with hot rollers comes out very finished, can last for days. You know, second day hair does great in rollers, and then each day after that, do some dry shampoo, tease some sections and whatnot, brush it out. It just go for 5 days. It'll look like a very nice luxe blowout. So I was like, oh man, I need to go and buy myself some hot rollers. So then I started looking for them and everything, and I'm like, well, those look really familiar. It's like, I wonder how much those are. I need to go make a trip to go and buy some hot rollers. And then I walk by my closet and I'm like, I have several hot rollers, different sets of them. Like, that's why they look familiar. So I just hot rolled my hair and it looks really good. I'm really glad I did it because I was about to have to do another TikTok hack at it. But I was saved. I was afraid saved by some dude named, I'm pretty sure it was Brad Mondo. But yeah, if you haven't done it in a while, get out your hot rollers and do your hot rollers and then some dry shampoo at the roots the next day and blow out your hair, and it'll be great. These are tips from Tabitha Jane that I know that I need to impart to you. So anyway, I'm going to let this one be a little video as its own. We're going to do 2 shorts, and then in the next one, I'm going to go on to the real bored housewife of Saratoga Trail. All right? So, thanks for listening thus far, and I'll catch you in the next. Bye-bye.